That does it for the first segment. Coming up next, we shall be talking about small and medium-sized enterprises and business in Cameroon and the US. Stay with us. Tonight, we have a visiting businessman from the United States of America. He's right here in Cameroon, Robert Sheahan. He is on the board of directors and an advisor to Ovamba Solutions, a marketplace lending technology platform that lends money to small and medium-sized enterprises. Executive Vice President of Systems Made Simple. You have many functions, but tonight we invited you as a businessman who has not only remained in the US, but coming to Cameroon. Good evening.
Good evening.
Mr. Robert Sheahan.
Yes, thank you.
Now, what motivated you to come to Africa, specifically Cameroon? What is there in Cameroon?
Well, Ovamba Solutions is here in Cameroon, and it's a very exciting opportunity for Americans to invest in the small and medium enterprises in Cameroon.
And some investors look at Africa as unattractive for business. What can you say about that?
Well, I think a lot of the Western investors in the United States don't understand Africa and view it as chaotic and war-torn and full of poverty, which there are some of those issues. But with the right investment in the economy, we can build the middle class of the countries, and then that provides opportunities for all Cameroonians, and then we spread that across the African continent.
When you look at small and medium-sized enterprises, do they also exist in America? Because here we call them small and medium-sized enterprises. There is even a ministry for that.
In the United States, we have small businesses. My career has been spent helping small businesses grow to medium businesses and hopefully grow to large businesses.
Now tell us how it functions out there in the U.S.
Most of the work that I've done since I live in Washington, D.C. is helping the small business community do work for our federal government. And it works through a contracting process where you bid on contracts, much like you probably would here. And when you're awarded contracts, if you perform well, you get more contracts and you can grow your enterprise.
And you are venturing in Africa. Which sectors do you see in Africa that will have great gains? Which sectors can you list here?
Well, my thought on what I've seen in the few days that I've been here is that in my studies of Africa before investing in it is that I think Africa needs to start to change its mindset of exporting all of the wonderful resources that you all have and build a manufacturing economy and consume the resources that you have instead of sending them out of the country and then importing them back into the country as finished goods. So some of the sectors I see, agriculture, of course, is a big one that will continue to grow and need to grow to feed the population. But other areas like information technology, I think, is a area that is ripe for growth because that will spur more investment from the rest of the world.
We are still to come about that. You've spent about 25 years in that domain now. Let's look at Africa and let's look at Cameroon to be specific. Do you really think that Africa consumes what it produces?
I think that a lot of it is exported out because I don't think that there's the strongest manufacturing base. But I am seeing some of that. I've met with many business leaders since I've arrived in Cameroon. This one lady really impressed me because she and her family owns a gravel quarry, and so they produce gravel, but they used to just export it out. And then they built a concrete manufacturing plant, and now they're actually manufacturing tiles and things that are now consumed here in Africa to build streets and plazas and things like that. So that's what I see as a future in Cameroon.
Which means Cameroonians can produce and consume. There's even a department in Cameroon that encourages Cameroonians to produce and consume local products. Now, how can you help to foster that?
Well, I and other Western people, whether they're from the U.S. or European nations, I think should look at Africa as a true opportunity to invest not only monetary resources, but invest their time and the knowledge that we have gained in my 25-year career in information technology in the United States. One of the things that we have done, even though it's information technology, it was focused on the healthcare field, and it is truly helping to transform healthcare delivery in the United States. Those same principles can be brought to bear here in Africa.
And do you think that technological advancement is a hindering factor to some of this in Africa and in Cameroon?
Currently, I had a conversation with a gentleman today at lunch who kind of told me that he didn't think it was one of the top priorities. Of course, I have a little bias because I am from information technology, but I do believe that lack of true, solid internet communications does hinder African nations from becoming part of the global economy, because the economy is not, right now here it's localized, but it needs to become global, and people need to be able to order their supplies, find suppliers. Cameroonian businesses need to be able to find suppliers on the internet, as opposed to having to do it, one by one.
Mm-hmm. And now when you look at you, a U.S. citizen coming back here in Cameroon, do you really think that the West and the U.S., to be specific, could be thinking of a new Africa, maybe investing in Africa today?
I truly think there's that opportunity. I think that, unfortunately, historically, what we see on our TV is mostly the chaos, the poverty, the wars in certain regions of Africa. But I think if Americans learn to look past that and understand that Africa is all of Africa, those are as emerging economies that are going to be part of the global economy, much like China has become part of the global and actually a leader in the global economy.
Mm-hmm. Now, what will you tell Americans as far as investing in Cameroon is concerned?
It's a land of opportunity. Cameroonians are warm people. They're hardworking. They need opportunity, and most of all, they need capital. And that's what Ovamba Solutions is all about, is providing capital to the small and medium enterprises so that they can grow by importing not just 12 containers a year of raw materials, but they can import 24 containers a year because they have the extra capital and then other working capital to grow their own infrastructure and to build factories and to grow their enterprise. Which
means with maybe in the days ahead, with partnership with persons from the U.S., one can become an entrepreneur. Absolutely. Overnight?
Well, overnight's it took me 25 years to get where I was, so it does take a while. But I do believe that there's opportunity for individual partnership. Some of the businesses I've actually talked to today, I am truly engaged in wanting to help them individually. I just think that Americans don't know Africa. As I said, we see it through the prism of our own news. And it's not pretty, and it needs to. They need to change. So when I go back to America, I will be able to tell the story of what Africa
really is. A land of legendary hospitality. Now, before we leave, Mr. Robert Sheahan, what is the challenge of the new media in today's business? You've been there for 25 years, technology. The challenge today, the new media, like maybe social media in today's business.
Well, again, communication bandwidth is going to be key to that. But the challenge for the new media is to expand through secure methods. Okay, so information needs to be secure. People need to be comfortable with it. Need to understand. The beauty of it is that while us old generations kind of go off and retire, there's new generations coming up, and as we educate those new generations, they're very comfortable with social media, and I think it'll play a very big part in the global economy and in the growth of Africa.
Okay, thanks a lot, Mr. Robert Sheahan, for making it to Cameroon and on Equinox Television.
Okay, thank you very much.
We hope you go back with good news to America.
I will, thank you.
All right, and thanks for having joined us in this edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinox Television, the Weekender edition. Good night.